All right. Welcome to the show. I'm Red Fox, and today's guest is someone whose story is a masterclass in what happens when the floor falls out from under you. So, for over 10 years, Chandra has lived and breathed the dojo. She was a martial artist, a fitness coach, and the creator of a brand called Be Hard to Kill. But in 2023, the floor didn't just move, it disappeared. So, through a series of injuries and a painful exit from the world of Hapkido, Chandra was forced into a dark night of the soul. But, as she says, in order to be resurrected, you have to die first. And through the wreckage, she found a different kind of strength. Behind a camera lens and in the pages of her family's history, she's the author of the upcoming book, Forgiveness Found in Darkness. I think that's right. I could be missaying this. It's a biography of her great-grandmother Ruth that became the roadmap of her own feeling. All right, Chandra, let's reintroduce you. Welcome to the show.
Hey, that was perfect. Forgiveness Found in Darkness. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you. Welcome. All right.
So much. That's awesome.
Let's dive in here. So, you've recently had some massive shifts, leaving your bookkeeping job.
Yes.
And returning from a trip to Mexico. How does it feel to wake up today with a brand new job and pretty much a whole new mentality on things?
Really good. Really good. It's in hindsight, the things that you pray for, and then you can connect the dots going back and see even any traumatic events that have happened that needed to happen in order for blessings to be uncovered. So I just look at it as the things that I've always wanted. They're all working themselves out. I just have extreme faith and I feel really blessed today. So it's been a crazy year so far.
Yeah, we're still just getting started. It's only February. It has been a crazy year. Do you want to tell everybody about your new job?
I would love to. I've had always wanted to work with animals. But I was one in college. I changed majors a lot, and I did go to school for a while to be a veterinary technician, but just a hard time in my life back then. It was like 2012, newly divorced. I ended up not finishing the program, and life took me in the direction of doing finance and bookkeeping. And it was very unfulfilling the last few years. And I got to work. I felt a little ungrateful at times. Got to work at home, stayed in my pajamas all the time. I got paid well, but I felt like my talents weren't being used. I wasn't being of service. It also enabled me a lot to just kind of never leave the house. I think my record was once every 6 weeks. I honestly, for like 3 years, I really, especially after with depression and stuff that I was going through, I very often would probably leave maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks. And so I've just really known that I wanted to, in this kind of second season of my life, because I'm in my 40s, go and pursue something that I could be proud of. And I always regretted, looking back, not pursuing the veterinary technician program. And so in the meantime, I got fired from my job in December, and I was almost relieved. Yeah, I was almost relieved. It's just, I'd seen it coming, and it's something I knew. 2026, I was like, I've got to figure out really what I want to do. And after a couple months here, has gone around February, I started to panic, and because I was being really picky about applying for things, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't just take something because I felt that I just needed to have some income coming in, and just get myself back into another situation that I had been. And so I did apply at like a bank and a dentist's office, but I applied for a couple of veterinary assisting jobs. One was also like a veterinary office manager, and I had a friend refer me to a veterinary office that didn't have a job posted, and that was probably a few weeks ago I applied, but it turns out somebody quit on them on Sunday. So they called me for an interview day before yesterday and then hired me. And so yesterday was my first day. So I am just really excited. And I went and looked into my program to see how many credits I have left. So they're going to be sending me that. And I'm probably going to go back to school as well and just go ahead and get that certified veterinary technician certificate so that I'm not held back from pursuing it and just being able to take care of animals. And it's just something I've always been passionate about, animals, since I was a little girl. So
I feel you on that. And congratulations. That is so amazing. And you had quite the first day, didn't you?
I did. It was crazy. It was exciting. I mean, I felt like getting ready for work. It's like the first day of school. I had weird dreams all night, didn't sleep very good, and I was just excited. And, I packed my lunch. It's just totally first day of school vibes. And I had ordered scrubs and none had shown up yet, of course, because I was hired and was going to start the next day. But I got there and we were going over how we were going to be set up for the day, and I joked around. I said, okay, so you're going to start me off easy, right? Just some vaccinations, some checkups. And he said, no, actually our first appointment. Yeah, just easy stuff. And I had interned for a couple of months in 2012 with a large animal hospital when I was doing my veterinary program. So I did have hands-on experience where I'd seen procedures like castrations and dentals and a couple euthanasias, which are always hard, even if it's not your animal. It's just. But so yeah, I was hoping they were going to give me something simple to start with, but unfortunately they said, well, no, we're gonna need to actually throw you right into it because our veterinary assistant goes on vacation in a week, and so you have just 3 days to try to learn her job. And which I pick up on things really fast, so I mean, it's more like a challenge for me, like, okay, I would rather that than someone not have confidence in me and say, oh no, we're going to stick you with that receptionist and ease you into it. But anyways, they said, unfortunately, our first patient of the day is probably going to be euthanized. It's a older, small terrier mixed dog that has a large mass tumor. It's probably inoperable. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a surgery and do basically an on the table autopsy, a live autopsy, just to make sure that there's nothing that we could have done, but then we're just going to euthanize it on the table. So they said the family's here, they're going to say their goodbyes, we're going to go and get her and take her back. And she's like, oh, there, that was a lot to know. That's what I was going to do. So they started I started my first day. Yeah, surgery first day. So yeah, but I felt like God wasn't probably going to let that be my first day experience, and so instead, we went into surgery and they got her opened up. As they were opening her up, he looked at me and he said, "Okay, do you have an issue with the sight of blood?" And I hesitated and he was like, oh no. I said, no, don't worry. When I was a teenager, I had a boyfriend that when he was getting stitches, I passed out in the emergency room. And so the nurse caught me. So I started getting all woozy. And I said, but not with animals. I haven't. But then I started second guessing myself. When he was opening the dog up, I was just staring at her face because I actually thought, well, I haven't been in this situation, and what if I do get woozy because I already have anxiety? And then I started getting kind of warm, like, am I going to pass out or am I just anxious? I was just psyching myself out all of a sudden. But I gave myself a pep talk, and they were pulling the tumor out, and when they're like, hey, do you want to see this thing's huge? And once I looked, I was just like, holy shit, this is amazing. I was fascinated. The tumor ended up being 1.5 pounds, and the dog was only 9 pounds. It was, I've got pictures, it's crazy. And they started pulling it out, and all of a sudden the doctor realized it wasn't connected to the liver or any major organs other than the spleen. It was a little connected to the stomach. And so he called the receptionist and said, hey, call her family and let them know that we are actually going to try to take this out and maybe send her home. And he said, our whole day is fucked up now. So tell the other people in the waiting room that we have an emergency and we're going to try to save this dog's life. And so we ended up being in there for a few hours, and I was just absolutely fascinated.
Oh my gosh.
Very hands-on. It came back like riding a bike, and then getting to monitor her vitals, and they would leave and go off and do other things. That was my job for the day. It was just this little miracle. And it was like 7:30 last night. It was a long day too, because they close at 5. And so 7:30 last night, we sent her home with her parents. So I hope she's doing good today, but it was just
what a blessing.
Not the kind of day you can have working for the bank or sitting at home in my pajamas, doing bookkeeping and answering the phone every once in a while. It's just, this is what I wanted. It's really something that I can be proud of myself and know that I'm actually making a difference in the world. So it felt good. Yeah. It was crazy though. It was
That is crazy. That's a crazy first day. That is a wild first day to be thrown into, but definitely gives you a feel for the job and maybe some of like the extreme moments that you might experience on the job as it's happening.
Yeah. It was good enough though that I did check my credits, and they're going to be sending me my transcripts to see just how many semesters it would take just to go ahead and get a technician license. So one day, and it's like, why not? If I'm going to do it, I might as well go all in and get that one thing that's been holding me back, is everybody wants a certified technician. And so, yeah, I'm excited.
That makes sense. That
great start to the new year. Yeah.
No kidding. Happy New Year. Congratulations on your new job. Yeah. It's so exciting and very exciting.
And I already told you, congratulations on your new job.
Thank you. I'm very excited. I have not started yet. I don't get started for another week, but I am excited to also be thrown into the deep end immediately.
Yes.
So you said you actually started that back in 2012, and I think I remember reading that you started martial arts in 2013. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes. So I guess 2012, I mean, that was a big year. It was, I got divorced, been in a very abusive relationship for 6 years, and I'm just very, very volatile. We were just like kerosene in a match, and it resulted in, I mean, a couple scary situations. I mean, I don't look at myself as a victim at all. It's like I've had a moment of being victimized, but I never wanted to be seen as a victim again. And because I spent many years just feeling like a victim and blaming everything on this or that. And when I brought my son up here to Washington, we lived in Oregon, the Portland area. I got divorced and we moved up here when he was 11 in 2012, and moved in with my mom at that time. Up here, I had my grandparents and family support, and my mom, to try to help Jaden to make friends and do something outside of school, she actually enrolled him in Hapkido. And so I went to a couple of his classes, and I decided that I never wanted to be afraid again. And so I thought, if I enrolled in martial arts, then I'd be able to equip myself with the tools that I need to feel strong and empowered. Mm-hmm. And Jaden lost interest in Hapkido really, really early on. And so, but I kept going. I quit so many times. I mean, it seems like a lot more often at first. I remember my first class, we were hitting bags, and it was my turn to hold the bag, and I was paired with a guy, and he was kicking the bag, and the vibration scared me. I just started crying, and I left, and I was humiliated. And so then I didn't come back for a while. And then there's another situation with Hapkido. You do things from like a throat grab,
Mhm.
and again, it's like a PTSD thing, a trauma.
Totally. It
And
is.
but the more you do it and practice, the more that trigger response gets better. And
You build
so with
capacity.
repetition, yeah.
Hmm.
And so I kept going back, and I fell in love with Guazabara, which is at the same dojo. It's combat weaponry. It has a lot of like dosei pares with the stick fighting, machete fighting, and I absolutely loved it. And I felt like they're my family, friends. Uh, the owners were my top two favorite people on the planet. I just looked at them as family, and so it was the one place I could go to where I felt always felt welcome. I felt like I could be myself. I could tell them about anything I was going through, and it was like an outlet to be able to go and get away from anything that was bothering me. But it was, well, and martial arts is, though, it's if you're having
Yes.
anxiety or need to get uh, any kind of aggression out, just go and
Mhm.
working out. Just, it's good for mental health just to go and punch something.
It
But yeah,
is.
yeah,
I would
I love
agree with
it.
that.
It was definitely uh, one of the main things in my life for 10 years, because I
Yeah.
changed jobs a lot. I didn't know what I wanted to do. When I always say what I want to be when I grow up, because
Hmm.
I went from bartending to banking to mortgage to bookkeeping. I've just done a variety of different jobs, but it's the one consistent, the one hobby that wasn't a hobby that I
It's like
started
a
and just
hub.
never, yeah, that never went away. Because
Hmm.
I'd start hobbies and be like, oh,
Fall off.
yeah, and lose, like, oh, I'm gonna polish rocks, and I'm gonna make jewelry out of rocks, and then 2 weeks later just bored of it. So, you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel like with martial arts, there's always something to learn. No matter what
yeah,
type of martial arts you're interested in or attracted to, I feel like, I mean, you did it for a decade. There's always
yeah.
something to go back and learn. There's something that you can perfect. There's something that you can keep trying to make better. And I would say I feel the same way about martial arts. I will always go back to it for as long as my body will allow me
Yeah.
to, because it does. It helps me with my mental health. It helps me manage stress in my life. It helps me feel connected to a community more so than probably anything else I've ever done.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so I understand that strong connection and that like underlying theme of being able to always come back to it.
Yeah. I just always
Um,
thought I wanted to get my black belt someday, and
yeah,
I I finally felt I was going through a streak where it was just the longest I'd ever gone without quitting, because I really would go like for 3 to 6 months, and then they wouldn't see me for 3 or 4 months, and yeah, I was really making progress and stuff, and but yeah, but
do you feel like I know at your peak you were training like 5 days a week? How much do you
yeah.
feel like your self worth was tied to being a martial artist?
Oh, well, I guess it's with putting your identity into anything, it's unhealthy. And it's all my friends were there.
Yeah.
My worth as a person, I wanted to impress the owners. Like I just love them. I wanted to, I wanted them to love me. I wanted to do good. And I I was really hard on myself. I was really hard on
Oof.
myself. And my ex-best friend, I had been part of her black belt test, like I participated in her black belt test, and she'd flown to Vegas when my husband and I got
Wow.
married in 2022. We were really close, but we were also just kind of toxic for each other because there's a lot of gossip and just things I see in hindsight and stuff. Um, that it's when I had a falling out with the dojo. She went to them and um, told them some gossip stuff, and I ended up having like an intervention with them, and they told me I needed to take a break. And so it crushed me, like absolutely crushed me.
I can't even imagine. That is
I'd been trying to
honestly
get personal
horrible news.
training, and
Yeah.
so I really thought when they were calling me to come for a meeting, I was like, oh, they're gonna finally schedule for the personal training I've been wanting to do. And when I walked in, there were two chairs and a chair, and I'm like, oh no, this is an intervention. I'd gone through a rough time in 2021. My best friend died in his sleep, and I'd quit drinking for like a
Oh,
year. And so I was trying like some mental health medications and stuff. And I was really, really having a hard time, emotional. And so they said, they called me in and they said, um, there's certain people that don't want to train with you. They're afraid of you. They think that you're a danger to yourself and to others. You need to take a break. And I
wow.
just lost. I was like, I
That's really
couldn't
hard,
believe that
hard
people
feedback
thought that
to
about
have.
me.
Yeah.
It was the last thing that like I ever saw, so I had to reflect on myself, but I just absolutely spiraled. I didn't want anybody to see me. I didn't want friends. Well, actually, the first month, every week, I'd message like, "Oh, it's been a week. Can I come back?" And they go, "Oh, you're not ready yet. We're not ready to have you back yet." And then after it'd been a couple months, I sent one more message. I said, I miss you guys. I'll apologize to whatever I need to do to prove myself. I'll be more humble. Um, I told them I went off the psych medication and I talked to a doctor. I had been going through a concussion too. I'd gotten a really bad concussion a few months before this. And so
Yeah.
I'd had
I
a
was going to
horrible
say,
concussion.
I have
So,
didn't you have another injury on top of the concussion as well?
oh yeah. So during that time, I'd been having just a ton of back pain. And so I didn't know the results yet. But from the day I had the intervention, I hadn't gotten the results from my MRI back. But so in this time that I'm wanting to go back, I found out I had a little fracture in my back and degenerative disc disease. And so from being thrown and stuff in Hapkido, and so
Yeah.
that was on top of that the September before this happened, I had a concussion. We were doing these weapons. I was working with someone who's trained for the black belt test, so it was weapon techniques.
Mhm.
And so he threw me with a cane, like a walking cane.
Yeah.
He wrapped it
Yeah.
around. He wrapped it around my neck and threw me, and it somehow the soft spot on the back of your head, it
Yeah.
it the pressure from that, the way I landed on it, I ended up with a concussion. And I didn't realize how long the effects of something like that lasts. And so it was just that
That's
whole
really
few
serious.
months. There was just a lot of confusion, um
Yeah.
and so when I was
And you said
messaging
coming
them,
off of medication. So there's a
yeah,
spinal fracture,
mhm,
concussion,
yeah,
and trying to come off of medication
yeah,
all at once. That's that's a
yeah.
crazy trio of crazy circumstances
It
all at
was,
once. And
yeah.
to
I just
then
felt
also,
ashamed. So just so ashamed and worthless, and yeah.
uh, that's not,
So
I mean, looking back, of course, I could say that here from now, like, oh my gosh, how
yeah,
can you think that about yourself? Like, that's not even
yeah,
fair. But I mean, considering other people may not have known all
yeah,
of those other circumstances around it that contributed
yeah.
to maybe why you were, I don't know how you were acting, but differently in the dojo. But
Yeah.
man, what an awful set of circumstances. And then also to have the rug literally pulled out from under you. And then to lose what you felt like was your community and your people
Yeah.
all at the same time. How
I
could you not
was
be depressed
I
about that?
and I could be gossipy, and I could be competitive and judgmental. And that's why I say the dark night of the soul thing, because I
Yeah.
completely just broke down to where I didn't want to be here anymore. I truly just didn't. I was just kind of existing. And
Mhm.
that's when I just started really um really deep diving into like, why am I here? Why are we here? What's the point in all this? And um, and started reading a lot of like spiritual books, and it's a blessing now. It still hurts because I still miss Guadalajara so much, but I realized I don't want anyone to ever feel that way. So when I interact with people, I try not to listen to what other people say about so and so. I try not to judge because I've been judged. I try not to to be unforgiving because I've been unforgivable. And it's if you live that way, that the golden rule of treat people the way you want to be treated, Jesus
Yeah,
taught that. That was like the main message in all of Jesus's teachings, and the love your neighbor and as yourself. But it's really just the golden rule um, because once you really feel what it feels like to be rejected, then you don't want to make anybody else feel that way. Because I really believe
no,
in karma, and that it all comes back, like any vibration, any kind of uh, any energy you put out really does come back at you. And so
I agree.
it's I can't stick with it 100% of the time, but it's really changed my personality and who I am as a person. I'm not even the same person I was a few years ago. Um,
I
I
believe
was
it.
just, and I had tried after a while. Oh, like I was saying, they after a few months, I'd one more time like, hey, can I come back? And they said basically they said they were going to be going on vacation. So they wouldn't even talk about it for like 8 weeks. And so I said, well, I'll stop bothering you, but just let me know when I can come back because I miss you guys. And they said, we'll do. So I was patient and I waited and I waited and I waited. And in the meantime, my best friend that August, so it would have been almost 10 months later, was going to be getting her doing her Hapkido black belt test. And I could have imagined her not inviting me, even if I couldn't participate, at least to watch. And I was hinting like, oh, and that invite never came. And that's when I kind of realized like, oh, I had lost it's like a whole family died to me.
Yeah,
It's like I losing everybody.
gutted.
Yeah, I was
Like
absolutely
entirely.
destroyed. And so that's when I really went downhill for a while, where I unfriended everybody from there, which is embarrassing. Now it's like, I probably shouldn't have just unfriended everybody, but I'm going to unfriend you on Facebook. But um,
Sometimes it's necessary to take a break from seeing those people and what they're doing,
that's
especially
what
if
I
it's
did.
painful to look. Exactly. So I don't actually think that there's any fault in it. And
Every
I
time
don't
I
even think
saw
that
it,
it was,
yeah,
it would literally reopen the wound.
yeah, it did.
So,
I mean, I'd have dreams about them, and there were always dreams about like I'd show up and there was like a barrier for some reason I couldn't walk past, like really strange dreams
oh,
like that. Like,
wow.
like this literally has haunted me for years. Um,
Whoa.
and I tried jujitsu. It's
Mhm.
really hard on my back. I've done physical therapy
I
for my
can tell.
back, and um, jujitsu is it's really out of my comfort zone. I tried Dose Pares, which is like a screama,
Mhm.
um, and because I miss the stick fighting, I
Yeah.
love the stick fighting. But the particular dojo, it's everybody just kind of wears their jeans and their street clothes, and I went from full contact to like no contact, and so there just wasn't
Whoa.
really a balance there. And so I was seeking to try to find a replacement for what I'd lost. And all of a sudden, last year December, my son, he started boxing. He went to a dojo that I hadn't been to, and he started boxing. And he he said it actually must have been like November, a year ago, November.
Like
He goes,
2024.
yeah, 2024.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
yeah, 2024. He goes, Mom, there's this place that I want to sign up for this thing called the Scrapyard, and um, I want to compete, and It's on YouTube. I'd never heard of it. And then of course he showed me, and I did recognize the videos. I was like, okay, I've seen this. And I told him, he said, Mom, if I wanted to sign up, would you support me? And I thought, of course, as a mom, it's, you don't
That's
want
a
your kid to
double-edged
get hurt
sword
and stuff,
there.
but yeah, I mean, he'd seen me. He'd seen me from 11 because he quit, when he was like 11. But he'd seen me all these years. I've had a broken hand. I've broken my foot, the fractured back,
Oh,
the
man.
concussion. So he's seen, and these were all during like being a chata. Chata is like the person that
I was
assists
going
with
to
the
say
black belt test. Yeah, when
martial
they do
arts
black belt
injuries.
testing. Yeah, and these were always. I mean, you really go like what 10-20%, but during a black belt test you're going like 30-50%.
Mhm.
So most of the injuries were during helping other people with their black belt testing. And so it would be a hypocrite for me to be like, oh no, I don't want you to
It's too
hurt.
dangerous.
And so he said, I said, okay, I'll support you, absolutely, but do me a favor and don't sign up for the next month. Wait until January. I said, I want you to put like full on, do some strength training, really, really commit, and then you can go. And so
Yeah.
um, then he asked me to be his corner. He goes, Mom, would you want to go support me and be your corner? And I told him, I was like, I am honored that you'd asked me that, because I actually would have been absolutely heartbroken if you wouldn't have asked me to come with you. I
Yeah.
mean, who wants to take their mom to
Yeah.
something like, right? And
No,
so,
seriously, I could see that perspective too. I mean, he's a young man in his early 20s, I think. And
yeah,
yeah, asking your mom to go with you to go to a backyard fight organization
yeah, because
could,
I can't imagine how I say these kids now, because
I say that too.
I've been at the scrapyard over a year now, but I say these kids, I can't imagine these kids showing up and not having their parental support. That's a big day for them to do all that
Huge.
training and to go and to maybe even get hurt, right? And to
Yeah,
like, I can't imagine if you wanted your mom or dad there and not having them there. Some of them are, barely just turned 18. So
I know.
I feel like when I'm there, if they want a mom, like, I feel like scrapyard mom, and a lot of people say that
Chandra the
like, wow,
scrapper.
my, yes, Chandra the
I love
scrapyard
that.
mom. Well, and so we went that first time in January, and that was one of the feedback that we got, where a lot of people would come up and say, wow, that's your mom's here.
Yeah.
That's so amazing that your mom actually, is here to
I was going
support
to
you.
say,
And
I don't know how many conversations you've had with people from the scrapyard, but a lot of them, their families do not support this.
yeah,
They
not
don't
at all.
support them fighting. They don't support them training. There is very little support at
Yeah.
all. So it is uh it's uncommon, and it was remarkable for you to show up with your son. And
To me, they're
um
athletes. They're athletes, and that needs to be
they
celebrated.
are
They work hard. They work so
very,
hard, and you're only young for so long to be able to do something like that. There comes a
yeah,
time where your body won't allow it, and
yes,
coming from a place where kids are encouraged, like, go to school and get your life together, and I now think in hindsight, I'd go have fun while your body's. So many people,
while you can.
they wait until they retire to maybe go travel and stuff. And I even think of like how much my body hurts at, by the time I'm 65, am I going to be able to look at the Egyptian ruins or hike anywhere? And
Yeah,
so it's now's
it's
the
hard to
time
think
for them
about that
to.
when you're young too,
Mhm.
because your body doesn't hurt like that. You recover like
Yeah,
this. So yeah, it's hard to have that perspective without somebody who's giving you that perspective to look at, yeah, I should be doing this now. This is the time for me to
yeah,
go and beat my body up. Really, I mean, truly, that's
it really
ultimately
is.
is
It
go and
really
beat
is.
my body up now while I'm young, when I have a better opportunity for recovery, a better opportunity to keep going and to do
Yeah,
this. Um, do it while you're young. Yeah. So it's, yeah,
that
it's
that
remarkable that. you support him in this, and it was awesome that you came. And that is also where we first met, is at the
Yeah.
Scrapyard.
Well, and that's the other thing I forgot to mention is that point of time. When I was being really hard on myself, back in 2021, or yeah, um, I was in the best shape of my life, right before the dojo kicked me out. I had lost 50 pounds. I had just gotten back from the First Form headquarters. Do you know First Form, Andy Frisella?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I was a coach for First Form, and I won a trip, and so I just got back from First Form, uh, and we even did like a group workout that was like in this motivational video that I'm in on YouTube, and but it was a lot of pressure to coach people and to keep a perfect diet and keep a perfect being of example. And so when that happened, I stopped working out, stopped
Yeah.
watching my eating, and I literally just wanted to look on the outside how I felt on the inside. And so when
Mhm.
I went to the scrapyard this last January 2024, or actually January 2025,
Yeah.
I can't believe it's 2026.
I can't either.
Yeah, I put all my weight back on. But it made me feel really great to be part of uh, the martial arts community and to meet all these fighters and stuff. And so it was inspiring. And nobody there knew that I was only leaving the house like once every 6 weeks. And so
Oh,
then Jaden next signed up to fight in June. So I was there in June, and then I volunteered July, and I came back without him, and that's when the photography. That's whole other crazy thing. Um,
yeah, let's dig into that, because that did start a whole new
it's just
other
nuts. Yeah,
kind of, I mean, I
yeah,
feel like it sparked a hobby that could potentially eventually maybe turn into a career for you as well.
yeah, yeah.
Was that July? Let's get into it.
It's I think it's just a miracle. I don't
It
think
was,
I don't think much could have pulled me out of that hole. It's like I just kept waiting for like a phone call to like come back to martial arts. Like I wasn't going to stop beating myself up until I was forgiven and like welcome back.
yeah,
But it um the scrapyard, we were just, after the second time, we were making so many friends, and so the next month, the July of last year, was the anniversary event, and Jaden wasn't planning on fighting, but for some reason I just didn't want to miss it. I was just I didn't want to miss
it
it.
was
I
a good
wanted to
one.
volunteer, and I had met Darren, the photographer, the month before, and so he said, if it's okay with Steve, you can come assist me and I don't know, maybe change out batteries or whatever. And I'd had a little bit of photography experience in high school, and actually when Jaden was a baby. And so I was just fascinated with Darren's camera. I like learning new things. I want to know everything about everything.
Mhm.
So he showed me some settings. He goes, here, you can take some pictures. And so I took some. He goes, oh, that's pretty good. And next thing you know, he's like, go ahead and walk around, take some more. So I did, and I just ended up shooting half of the July event. And um, he edited those photos from that July event. And so Mighty Mouse from UFC,
Yes.
DJ Johnson was there.
Yep.
That event was wild. It
That
was
was,
Winged Sea, Chiseled Adonis,
yep.
and so I got a photograph some of these celebrities, semi-celebrities, and
You
when
caught some
Darren and the pictures
amazing
came out,
captures from that event. That
it's
there's some
awesome.
incredible photos from that event. That was such a
I couldn't
wild
believe it.
event.
It was nuts. Yeah.
Anyway,
I ordered a camera. Yeah. Once I started seeing the pictures, I was like, that was so fun. And it's like, and I think I'm good at this.
you
I
are.
just thought I just had a natural eye for it. And I mean, it's
Yeah,
weird to say. It feels weird to say, but I was good at it.
shouldn't be. You
And
are good
so I
at it.
got my own camera, and um, I didn't realize Darren wasn't going to be there the next month, August, because I had my new camera and I was dying to use it. And the day of the August fights, I messaged him. I said, I wish I was there. Have a great time. He goes, oh, I'm not there. I was like, oh crap, I would have gone. But the next month I went and shot September by myself.
Oh my gosh.
And
I didn't
then,
realize that.
yeah. Oh, and then I had already, we've already kind of chatted about, I was just kind of sick and fed up with my job. And my boss,
Yeah.
it was a certain day in September. She was just, I was just fed up with her. She screwed up the schedule. There was like a no call, no show on a customer, and I was basically chewing her out and saying, you can't do this with customers. It reflects bad on you as an owner. And in the meantime, that same day, Steve had put out that iShowSpeed was going to be iShowSpeed. They were going to be meeting up with iShowSpeed. So I told my husband, I said, I think I want to clock off and show up and try to photograph this thing. I don't know what they're doing. It might be crazy. And he said, Chandra, you've already decided to do it. If I tell you not to, you're going to do it anyways. And so I clocked off. I told my boss I needed a personal day. I took the ferry, and next thing you know, I was photographing iShowSpeed, and yeah, it's history from there.
And the rest is history.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
the
my
rest is
gosh.
history. Yeah.
What a day.
It has been just such a blessing. The fighters are appreciative. The people that I've met, they look forward to my pictures. They always ask if I'm going to be there. They're really cool.
You are a much loved and appreciated member of the Scrapyard, for sure.
And it's wild seeing, I'd say, in any of the photographs since July, I'd say 95% of the thumbnails on the YouTube are my pictures. So
oh my gosh,
the only ones that aren't, if I leave early, or if for some reason, like last month I was sick, otherwise they're all my thumbnails. So it's so cool to be flipping through YouTube and be like, oh, that's my picture, that's my picture, that's my picture. And then
so
Frankie LaPenna,
yes.
wild. Yeah. So, but
yeah, tell everybody about the Frankie LaPenna event. That was another really funny, crazy event.
Frankie LaPenna, he's the big butt guy. What do they call it? The Gap King or whatever.
King.
They decided to do it on a day that wasn't a regular fight day, and it was right after the Scrapyard got their 1 million subscribers. And so they're also going to be filming their 1 million sub video. And Frankie LaPenna, originally he was going to fight 4 on 1 ladies. And so I volunteered to come and photograph it. And then I was also going to be a backup. I did show up fight ready, even though I'm glad that didn't happen, because I am still so out of shape. I have 0 cardio. But there ended up being 5. I would have been 6. There ended up being 5 ladies ready to go. And so they ended up doing 5 ladies versus Frankie, and they hurt him.
I was going to say that poor guy took some damage. Yeah. I saw,
and he's supposed to be coming back. So he's supposed to come back.
I heard that he's looking for something very specific.
Very specific. I'll say it. He would like to to quattro tortas. Some for ladies of a certain beautiful queens. I'll say are my beautiful Latina queens of a certain shape. So yeah, any tortas if they would like to fight Frankie LaPenna, it's gonna be crazy. He's got millions and millions of views on his videos, so I mean, it's a good opportunity to get some exposure for anybody who wants some exposure. So
absolutely, and even if you're not, I would say even if you're a very, very, very beginner fighter and have never fought before or stepped in the ring, it's still a great opportunity.
Yeah, none of the girls that fought him the last time, none of them had experience. Even though the Goddess 9, she didn't have any experience, but you couldn't tell. I mean, she's the one that hit him in the back of the head. So
Joanna has experience. Joanna's fought at the Scrapyard.
Oh yeah,
twice.
Yes, twice. Yeah. I almost spaced. Joanna.
That's
Joanna
okay.
Wick.
Joanna Wick,
she's awesome.
From Australia. Yeah. She is awesome. I hope to eventually have her on this show. I would love to interview her.
She is phenomenal. I follow her on Instagram. It's like she just is living the life, touring the world, and
yeah, it's awesome.
fascinating. And she we met her in July. That was that anniversary event, was her first
Oh,
fight.
yeah.
And she got in the commentator booth too, and she's just really good at commentating. So yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah,
I missed that because I also competed at that event. That was my first kickboxing match
yeah,
against
against
Beethoven.
Beethoven.
Yeah. Oh man,
Exciting.
that was such a fun event. That was such a fun day. It was quite an experience all around with everything that day.
Yeah, the Scrapyard it's my
It's
son.
a magical place.
He improves every time he fights, and
he
of
does.
course I'm there every month whether he is or not now, but it's really brought confidence back into myself that even though I'd changed as a person, that I more trust to go, and it's like I felt just loved and accepted, and something that I could be proud of. And
yes,
it did inspire me to reach back out to my dojo one more time, because I felt, I'd let it go for it'd been 2 years October since I'd been kicked out. And so I sent a text in November and I just said, hey, it's been 2 years now. I'd like to chat about coming back, and I miss you guys. And I didn't hear anything. So then I waited till around Christmas, and I sent another text, and I just said, hey, I didn't know if you got the last message, but I'd love to come back and start Guazabara again. And so let me know when we could talk or when I could start. And I didn't hear anything. And so I decided to one more like Hail Mary, because I couldn't tell if they'd read the messages or not. So a couple weeks ago, so I waited a whole another month. I sent it on their Facebook, and I screenshot the messages I'd already sent, and I said, hey, I wasn't sure if anybody got these, but I'd really like to come back. And I could see that they saw the message, and then they didn't say anything. So I'd been kind of waiting, like, God, give me a sign if it's like just something that you pulled me out of because it was unhealthy, to where I just need to let it go. I just wanted some closure. I wanted to know that, I wanted to know, just tell me you don't want me, and so then I can move on. And so they saw it and didn't say anything. So I feel like I need to be in places in my life where I'm wanted and appreciated for who I am. And I love deeply and I care about people. And so that, that's reciprocated. And so I am going to try Muay Thai at my son's gym.
Very cool.
Some HKA USA gloves and guards. And so when they come in, I'm so out of shape. And that'll whip me into shape. But
I was going to say, don't even worry about it. That will take care of it for you. It's just everybody has a first day. Old,
I would like to get in the ring one time at least. So
I would love to see that.
It's my motivation to. It's Hapkido and Guazabara. They're not really arts you can spar much, or they're not applicable, and so I have no striking experience, no
oh wow
at all.
Okay,
yeah,
so this will be a whole new adventure.
Yeah, I can do weapon takeaways. I can striking with weapons, of course, but Guazabara is a lot of taking away from taking weapons away, or defending yourself against a weapon, weapon against weapon, mano a mano. And so and then Hapkido is joint manipulation, bone breaking. It's just it doesn't translate very well in the ring. There's some groundwork that's part of Hapkido that I really liked, and that would translate a bit, but yeah. So I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try Muay Thai and see if I'm still looking for that one. I'm still looking for a new gym.
Well, I'm curious, if you do come and if you compete at the Scrapyard, what do you think you might want to compete in? Let's say it's like 6 months or a year from now or whatever, when you feel comfortable in an art. What do you think you might want to do?
I originally thought, because when Jaden had started, I was like, oh, it would have to be MMA because I didn't have striking.
Mhm.
My first go-to would be a leg sweep. I'd want to take him down to the ground, but
Mhm.
yeah. But if I try Muay Thai, then probably kickboxing, Muay Thai, probably.
That makes sense. Well,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. I want to pivot a little bit because there's this other piece of your story that we haven't even gotten to yet.
Yeah.
And that is the book, which actually
The
really,
book.
really ties into this journey.
Mhm.
When did you originally first start working on that book?
Oh gosh.
In
So the book probably a few years ago, before I kicked out of the dojo, I had said something to my mom because my great grandmother had written a very short memoir, and um, in the memoir, she wanted to get her story out to help other people who have survived a life of traumatic experiences. And my mom had told her when she read the memoir in the 90s that it was really good and that she was going to try to get it published someday. It was like a promise she made to her. And my mom had brought it up a few years back, and I've always liked writing, and I told her that I was going to take it on as a project. And it's something that I've, like most of my hobbies, I'd pick it up and drop it, pick it up and drop it. So I'd get to a spot in it where I'd be just really frustrated and didn't have the confidence that didn't like the way I was writing it, didn't like how it sounded, didn't think I was doing her justice.
Mhm.
And but in the meantime, since I was spending a lot of time at home, I actually this last couple of years really, really got up and going with it. And it was a lot of research. She was born, they thought she was actually born in 1918, but she was actually born in
Ah,
1917. And I say
wow.
they thought is because her and her twin sister, um, we grew up knowing that great grandma, we didn't know that side of our family because she was adopted. And it's because her and her twin sister were found abandoned. And we thought it was like a basement of some rooming home. She was born blind, but her twin sister was of perfect health. And so they were
Uh,
found dumped in Colorado, and they thought they were about 18 months old, but it turns out they were actually closer to 3. But they were just so
whoa.
malnourished, and so we grew up just never knowing who our great 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 grandparents were, what her real birthday was, and so the Colorado Children's Aid Society gave them the birthday of Valentine's Day, so February 14th of
Coming right up.
1918. Yeah. Um, my great grandma, she ended up, they wanted to keep them together, but nobody wanted to adopt them together with one of them being blind. And so they were finally accepted into the Myron Stratton home, which back in the turn of the 19th century, turn of the 20th century, um, it was institutionalizing people, and institutions and orphanages were booming back then. And
Mhm.
so that's where they were raised. But
Um,
my great grandma, they were eventually actually separated because she spent most of her growing up in a blind and deaf school in Colorado. And so
wow.
she was abused there. And in the process of writing this book, I had to do a lot of research, and it was absolutely, um, it was grueling to try to put the puzzle pieces together, to piece her life together. Because everybody had different memories. There wasn't very well records written back then, and
No.
through Ancestry.com, through this process, we found out who her parents were. So that's actually slowed
Whoa.
down me writing the book because all of a sudden I was digging through newspapers, um, trying to at least be able to put together why I think they were abandoned. And so
Yeah.
um, my family, a lot of them, they're not going to know until they read the book, these secrets.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I know who their parents were. Their real birthday was actually August 30th of 1917. So
Whoa.
they were actually older than we'd originally thought. And yeah, I have put together to the best I could through the records and stuff. And so Valentine's Day, this Valentine's Day, the book goes on pre-sale. And so we're with the publishers. I'm going to have a lot of pictures in the book because I've put together just tons of pictures. I want to be part of it because I'm a very visual person. So I we're going to be we're doing the formatting right now. So the pre-sale will happen on Valentine's Day to honor Ruth and Ruby, are their names, Ruth and Ruby. And yeah, my grandma was Ruth, so her twin sister Ruby. So to honor their birthday, we're going to do the pre-sale, and then the book should ship out just right at the end of March. So, but yeah, we're working on the formatting and the cover and all of that. So, yeah, their story is inspiring.
Really remarkable.
Yeah, she was abused in the blind and deaf school. She ran away at one point as a teenager, and she was raped, and
Whoa.
they took her back to the orphanage. They sent her back to school actually, and school didn't say anything to her, but all of a sudden they decided to transfer her to the Salvation Army, and she had said in her memoir that the girls, all their bellies were big, and nobody would tell her anything. And all of a sudden, it got to where they transferred her over to the hospital area, and it wasn't until she was giving birth that they told her that she was about to have a child. So she gave birth to a little boy, and they took it away right on the spot.
Whoa.
And that wasn't even the worst thing that happened to her in her life. It actually goes downhill from there. So,
oh my gosh. Poor lady. Also, what a crazy, remarkable full circle.
That's why the book's called Forgiveness Found in Darkness, Ruth Crook, A Life Redeemed, is because she spent her whole life searching for love, and without ever being able to being shown love, she had what almost seems like at first to be like an invisible friend, but she found out her whole life she'd been speaking to Jesus, even though she was seeking what the source of love was. And so it's basically spending her whole life. You can look through the book of how she was seeking for something that was always there. And in the end, this woman never hated anybody, always loved everybody, and she just endured and found the secret to healing was through her love of Jesus Christ. So she's just a phenomenal woman.
Pretty beautiful. Oh my gosh, that's incredible. You are quite
very, very excited about that. Yeah.
Me too, actually. I'm also equally very excited and excited for you as well. I'm excited too. I'm a little bit trying to get a little ahead of myself trying to pre-order the book because I'm so excited.
Okay. So if anybody wants to pre-order, so yeah, on February 14th, we'll have it listed on Hibwritten Press, which is HIBRITEN, Hibwritten Press. Is my publisher, and they'll have that up for pre-sale on their website. And I'll also post it on Chandra C Photography. So I'm Chandra C Photography on Facebook and on Instagram. I'll be posting that link for the pre-sale for the book. So
perfect. And when that pre-sale link goes live, let me know because I'll add it into the description underneath this podcast as well. So
will do.
I am excited. So let me ask you one last question before we wrap up here. So you titled your Substack, Let Me Reintroduce Myself. If you were standing on a mat in front of everyone that's ever known you from your past lives, those from the dojo, your old jobs, family, what is one thing you want them to see in you today that wasn't there a few years ago?
Humility and I'd want them to see a reflection of themselves through me of we're all forgivable, we are always we're always perfect through God's eyes. And when we feel like we're unforgivable or unworthy, it's not true. And so if you truly see in others that they are God's children, and treat them in that way, then that just all comes back. And that's just what I want to tell anybody, is that you always can restart. You can always be a new person, and mistakes can always be smoothed out by just trying to make higher choices and to do good and be of service. So I didn't articulate that as well as I wanted to, but
so I would still say that's very beautiful and profound. And
we're all forgivable and loved.
I agree. It's very beautiful. Yes. As we wrap up here, are there any shout outs or drop your social media tags?
Shout out to the Scrapyard, to Mandy and Steve for giving me the opportunity, letting me come out and do my photography, and yeah, that's just been amazing. Shout out to the Scrapyard media team, Darren and Logan, and shout out to my son Jaden for he's been with me my entire adult life, and I can't imagine my life without him. And my husband Josh, he has to put up with me and all the all the ebbs and flows of life. And and yeah, shout out to, I guess, my publisher for also taking on this project, and yeah, I think that's it. It'd just be Chandra C Photography is all my social media. So
I will also grab those links and I'll put them in the description for this as well. So
awesome.
Yeah. Chandra, thank you so much.
To visit soon.
I would love that. You are
We've been
always
talking about
here.
Jade wants to come down.